Welcome to Becoming a Sleep Consultant. I'm your host, Jane Havens, a certified sleep consultant and founder of both Snooze Fest by Jane Havens and Center for Pediatric Sleep Management. On this podcast, I'll be discussing the business side of sleep consulting. You'll have an insider's view on launching, growing, and even scaling a sleep consulting business. This is not a podcast about sleep training. This is a podcast about business building and entrepreneurship. Today's podcast is a little bit unconventional. I've never done this before. Typically, I either come on solo or interview other adults. But today, I thought it would be fun to interview my 12-year-old son, Sid. And I thought we'd talk a little bit about what it looks like to grow up in a household with a sleep consultant and what it looks like to have a mom who is a stay-at-home mom, but also runs a busy business. I want to hear it from his perspective. Before we get started, Sid, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself so they know who you are?
Yeah, thank you. I am Sid Havens. I am in sixth grade and I love sports, so much so that I have my own weekly newsletter, and I love hearing about my mom's business. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Okay, that's great. Before we get started, why don't you give us your definition? Like, what is sleep consulting? What do you think that means?
So every time I hear my mom talking to families or to people on how to get your child to sleep, I know that sleep consulting means to help someone who isn't able to sleep through the night. And the term sleep train is what she uses because the families that she's training, they don't know how to sleep yet. So she's helping them through the difficult process, but she's making it easier for them.
Yeah, I think that's right. Sleep consultants are people that support parents through the process of sleep training, which is teaching babies and toddlers and preschoolers to sleep through the night, right?
Yeah.
So I started working as a sleep consultant. I think it's been like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years now. What has that experience been like for you? Do you remember what it was like when I first launched my business? And I'm sure it's different for you now than in the beginning.
Well, first, I just want to say that there's a saying that time flies when you're having fun. I had no idea that it has been 6 years. That's like way longer than I thought. And honestly, that segues into my next point, that it's like the best job for the kid for their parent to have, because they still have so much time for you and they're able to help you with homework or play a game of ping pong or do whatever with them. And I think that my mom's business is just so interesting, and I love hearing about her families and how they're doing. And I just love hearing it because it's so fascinating.
Do you ever feel like, and you can be honest here, it's okay for you to be honest. Do you ever feel like having a mom that works is hard, that we don't get to spend all the time together that you would want? Or do you feel like we have a good balance?
So I do remember the time that my mom was just a stay-at-home mom and she didn't have a job, and there was so much time. But now it's really not that much of a difference, because most of her work and calls is going on during the day. So really, she still has so much time. And like I said before, it's the perfect job for my mom to have, because she still gets to play with us and do activities with us. And honestly, I feel so fortunate that my mom has started a successful business, and I feel so lucky to be the son of her.
That's so sweet. You're such a good boy. Do you want to tell everybody who's listening how sometimes you help me in my business? What does that look like? Because you actually play, I would say, a supporting role with some of my clients. Tell everybody what you do.
So I sometimes help my mom with videos that she makes to her clients. Okay.
Also, I think we should make it clear that we're talking about kids that are like 2, 3, 4 years old, not babies, right?
Yeah. So let's say the child's name is Susie, and me and my sister sometimes we make the video. My mom starts it off by saying, "Hey Susie, I heard you slept through the night all by yourself last night. We're so proud of you, and you have to keep doing it, and we're just so proud, and Coach Jane is loving the progress." And me and my sister pop on and we say, "We're so proud of you. It feels so good to sleep through the night. And if you don't sleep through the night, you don't have enough energy to complete the day. So it's very important to sleep and keep it up."
Yeah, I love when you and Ivy make videos for my toddler and preschooler
So much fun.
clients.
I love
It's
it.
it's so much fun. I think it's fun for you and Ivy to get
Yeah.
involved in my business, and I think it also has a really positive impact for the families that I support. I think that they're never expecting, it's such a nice surprise, right?
Yeah.
Like these families hire me to help them with their 3-year-old or their 4-year-old who's not staying in bed at night. And I think never in a million years do they expect to be coached by a 12-year-old and an 8-year-old. And these little 3-year-olds, they love you guys,
Yeah.
right? Like
They
they want to
honestly,
talk to you guys.
yeah. Like when I remember we were in Florida and we were at dinner and we made a video. And when we came back to the hotel, the boy was like, "Can we talk to Sid and Ivy? We want to talk to them more." And honestly, it's so funny to me because really, we're doing, I would say, less than 10% of the work. And yet they still think of us as their teachers and they want to talk to us. But honestly, I just enjoy it so much. And I think that it's a perfect way for me to connect more with my sister and my mom. And I love making these videos. It's so much fun for us.
I love it too. Is there anything that you feel like you've learned about sleep, whether it's for your own sleep hygiene or just something that you didn't know before I started working as a sleep consultant that you know about sleep now?
Well, my biggest trick is to sleeping at night is honestly, and I think your kids can use this too, is I love to I'm not ashamed to admit that I have stuffed animals in my bed. And what I kind of do is in my brain I do like a little talk show with them. I say like what's going on in my life and I pretend what's going on in their life and it honestly gets me to sleep very quickly. So I think that that's a tip. But honestly, I've I've heard my mom say this a bunch of times, and I think it's great advice. When you're little, you say, "I love you. You're safe. It's time to go to bed."
That is one of my mantras, right? I love you. You're safe. It's time for bed. And we
I hope
have
I'm not
definitely,
feeling too much information.
you're not revealing too much information. I think you're showing that you're paying attention and you're learning and I think that's great advice. That is not secret sauce. That
Yeah.
is just straight up good advice, right?
And another thing that my mom always says, especially for babies and younger kids, is that there's no magic potion, but if you do it the right way, there's a pretty good chance that your kid is going to be sleeping through the night.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a magic wand to wave. There's no magic potion. It's hard work. You have to have commitment. You have to be
Yeah,
consistent with the process, right? That's what I always say. You have to be consistent with the process
you have to fully.
and you have to fully commit and we will see improvement. I'm sure you hear me say that a lot.
Yes.
So I am wondering if watching me grow a business has made you think about wanting to have a business of your own one day.
So I'll be honest, I'm definitely inspired by my mom, but I still do want to be a broadcaster when I'm older, a sports broadcaster. And honestly, right now, that's my passion. But who knows, one day, maybe she'll inspire me even more and I will start my own business of some sort.
Okay, that's fine. You don't need to start your own business. I was just curious to see if maybe you had caught the bug, but I guess
I'm
not.
definitely like catching inspiration. I just have always loved sports. So maybe I'll start a sports kind of business of my own. I don't know what that is yet, but maybe I'll take a combination of those. I don't know, but we'll see.
Sid, what do you tell friends who wonder about what I do for work? How do you explain my business or what I do?
So honestly, I know that my best friends definitely have an idea of what my mom does, but if I'm telling someone new, I just tell them that if if you have a little kid in your family or you know someone that doesn't sleep through the night, my mom helps them get back on track and get sleeping through the night. And if they don't already know, teach them how to sleep through the night. And she coaches them through that process with a bunch of different helpful solutions and ideas.
That is a great, great answer. So a lot of our podcast listeners, some people who listen to this podcast are already sleep consultants. So they're doing the work, they know what it looks like.
Yeah.
But there are also plenty of people who listen to this podcast who are thinking about becoming sleep consultants. And I would imagine most of them, not all, but most have kids of their own. And potentially they're working other jobs or they're home with their kids. Everybody has busy lives. What would you say to somebody who's thinking about becoming a sleep consultant? Would you encourage them to do it? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, honestly, I love this job for my mom because, like I said earlier, she has so much time for us. But honestly, since I'm a kid, I'm going to kind of pitch this to the kids who are a little unsure of what their mom is about to do. I want you to share this podcast episode with your kid, and I want them to see that their mom or dad will still have so much time for them and to love them and do whatever they want. Well, not whatever they want with them, but do activities with them and love them. And honestly, I've said this so many times today, but it's such a wonderful opportunity for you because it's such a successful business. And it's a great opportunity for us as kids because our mom or dad has so much time for us.
Yeah, well, I think that's perfect. I think we should end here because I want to have enough time to go down to the basement, play a little ping pong with you before
Yeah.
you get to your homework. So we're going to wrap this up so we can go play. But before we do, I always give my guests a quick opportunity to pitch their own businesses or whatever they have going on. So why don't you share with everybody your website and a little bit about what you're up to?
Okay, I'm so excited. So, if you're interested in sports or you're interested in getting interested in sports, go to sidsrundown.com and it will prompt you to put your first name and email and tell anyone you know that likes sports or is interested. And I put out a newsletter or sometimes even a podcast like this with one of my friends or family members on Mondays, or if it's a podcast, there's a chance that it will be on a different day. But I will definitely talk to you guys about that when you sign up. And honestly, the perks, I've had so many great emails from people that I don't even know telling me that this is their new Monday routine, looking at 7 a.m. in their inbox and they find my email and they love reading it every week. And honestly, it's my chance to chase my dream of becoming a broadcaster or a sports writer. And it's your chance to pick up more knowledge on whatever sport or sports you're interested in. And you can hear it from a kid like me.
Sid, thank you so much. You articulated what our life looks like, I think, beautifully today. So thank you. And I hope you get a ton of new subscribers to your email list. Thank you again for taking the time to do this interview with me. Let's go play some ping pong.
Yeah. And as I say on my newsletter, keep swinging for the fences.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Becoming a Sleep Consultant podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean so much to me if you would rate, review, and subscribe. When you rate, review, and subscribe, this helps the podcast reach a greater audience. I am so grateful for your support. If you would like to learn more about how you can become a certified sleep consultant, head over to my Facebook group, Becoming a Sleep Consultant, or to my website, thecpsm.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you will tune in for the next episode.